Number 15. Michael Dunn. If you've ever been involved in a neighborly dispute over loud music, know one thing, it can escalate. That's what happened when a Florida teen was face to face with armed neighbor Michael Dunn. Dunn took the life of 17-year-old Jordan Davis because of the volume of his music. The calm in Michael Dunn's confession is what's stunning. During his interrogation, he simply tells the story of taking a life of one boy and attempting to take the others without even seeming upset.
What were you shooting at? Did you acquire a target or did you just start shooting?
I shot at the door.
What did you?
He claims in the video that he thought the boys were armed as well and were going to return fire. They were not, and they did not. Dunn was given the maximum sentence of life behind bars without parole plus 90 years. Number 14. Alsono Perez. This 25-year-old was left handcuffed and alone by detectives in the interrogation room. Once on his own, he broke free of the cuffs by twisting and snapping them using his body weight. Watch the video and you can see Perez playing it cool when police pop back in the room moments later. But they didn't notice that he'd managed to break free. Once left alone again, Perez climbed through the roof with ankle shackles still swinging from his feet. He then fled from the North Las Vegas police station in a white Ford pickup truck. Although there was a live feed of the interrogation room, no officers were watching it. Thankfully, Perez was caught not long after at a residence and was taken back into custody. Perez was charged with taking the life of Mohammed Robinson, who witnesses claim failed to open the door for a woman at McDonald's. Robinson apparently had his life taken because of it. Number 13. Elaine Campione. This woman was convicted of taking the lives of her daughters, 19th-month-old Sophia and 3-year-old Serena, on October 4th, 2006, amidst a divorce and custody battle with her husband, Leonardo Campione. Elaine called the police and very calmly stated that her children had passed away. Police found the two girls in their pajamas in their mother's bed. They'd been there for days, a photo album and a rosary laid between them. As you can see in the interrogation videos, Elaine appears a bit dazed.
After you shut off the video that you pushed her down under the water,
I cannot.
Isn't that what is going to show that water's in her lungs?
She cries when told what she's being charged with. She does not admit to the charges. She just stares straight ahead when questioned about the event, but she remains silent. Although her defense argued that her mental state blurred the lines between what was morally right or wrong, the jury did not agree. They found her guilty of her actions on November 15, 2010. Number 12. Thomas Robinson. Another breakout attempt caught on camera. This one came when 23-year-old Thomas Robinson grabbed for the police officer's tactical belt as he was being placed in cuffs. A surveillance camera captured the whole thing. Robinson was subdued with help from 2 other officers. He was then forced to the floor with an electronic control device. Robinson had been charged with taking a life, and no doubt just added to his rap sheet with this failed escape attempt. Number 11. Cynthia Sobotka. We all have that crazy mother-in-law. You know, the one who goes off her rocker every now and then. Well, this one certainly took things too far. Cynthia Sobotka took the life of her son-in-law in February of 2014 as he carried a basket of laundry. Cynthia had been living in a granny flat attached to her daughter's home. As her daughter, Laura Solanas, nursed her back to health, Cynthia witnessed him being harmful to her daughter and grandchildren. As you can see in the interrogation video, Cynthia was not a bit remorseful for the incident.
Is he alive? He's not? Oh, good. Oh, thank you.
I didn't care, she told police. I'd do it again. In fact, after the incident, she'd gone to a local cafe and eaten breakfast, and went out and about before she was taken into custody. When told he had passed away during the interrogation, Cynthia openly cheered. The 65-year-old was found guilty and sentenced to 50 years behind bars. Number 10. Colonel David Russell Williams. Although Williams' 23-year military career held not a single blemish, he held a dark secret, a secret that was discovered January 28, 2010, when 27-year-old Jessica Lloyd went missing after uncovering distinct tire tracks in the snow close to her home. The Ontario Provincial Police searched for motorists who used the highway nearby. They found a match, the tire treads of a Nissan Pathfinder driven by none other than David Russell Williams. As you can see in the video, when Williams is first brought in for questioning, he appears cool, confident, and even smug. But during the interrogation, it took him nearly 4 hours to crack.
This is the footwear impression of the person who approached the rear of Jessica Lloyd's house. These are identical.
You can see Williams' body language change as the interrogation goes on, particularly when Smith shows him the boot print match and reveals that a search warrant to Williams' home has been issued and is being carried out at that moment. This must have been the moment that Williams knew his time was up. After a lot of silence and gentle persuasion by the skilled interrogator, Williams asked for a map to show the location of Jessica's body. During the 10-hour interrogation, he then started describing the events in full. Williams pleaded guilty to all charges on October 18, 2010. He got life behind bars. Number 9. Overpowered. What happens when a suspect doesn't want to sit and talk? Well, this happens. When 3 cops brought their suspect in for questioning, this man wasn't having it. When told to sit down, police went to cuff him. That's when this man popped up out of his seat and laid into one of the officers. He removed his coat and flung it at 2 more. But instead of escaping out the door of the interrogation room, he took on yet another officer who had heard the commotion and entered to try and calm the suspect. Instead of calming, the suspect took on this new officer until they were both against the corner of the room. Getting caught up in the heat of the moment was his gravest mistake. He could have fled through the open door. Instead, the other 2 officers were able to subdue him and haul him into another room. The CCTV footage was captured in Shenyang, China. It's unclear if the suspect was charged. Number 8. Brendan Dassey. Most viewers know Dassey from the Netflix series that brought the case against Dassey and his uncle Stephen Avery into the spotlight. Viewers are as polarized by the show, with some considering the producer's narrative biased, while others believe Dassey and Avery were framed by the county police department, or at least they weren't given a fair trial. Whatever your thoughts were on the verdict and the trial, most who have seen this interrogation video of Dassey find it disturbing to say the least. The 16-year-old was without a guardian or legal representation present during his 4-hour interrogation. His IQ is also below 70. Some say police were asking him leading questions and that Dassey was simply telling them what they wanted to hear, not necessarily the truth.
Oh, come on, be honest. You went back in that room.
Don't let us down, Brendan.
We know you were back there.
Dassey was questioned 4 times over the course of 48 hours. During the interrogations, he was told critical details about the event, which he then incorporated into his confession. He was also told throughout that the police would help him if he confessed. Watch the entire interrogation and decide for yourself. Are all of these disturbing details coerced by police? Number 7. Lee Rodarte. The passing of 21-year-old Savannah Gold at the Bonefish Grill in Mandarin led straight to the doors of the grill's manager, Lee Rodarte. The pair had been involved in an on and off again relationship, a relationship that took a dark turn. In the interrogation video, you can see there are holes in Rodarte's story. He keeps changing it for one thing. But the story as police tell it was that before her shift that fateful night, Gold and Rodarte had an argument in Rodarte's car, sitting in the girls' parking lot. After a struggle, the car drove away. In the end, Rodarte confessed his guilt to police and led them to her body.
You freaked out that, you had to know something.
Obviously, I was the last one to see her, so
Yeah.
I was a little bit scared at that.
How do you know you just said you weren't the last one to see her. You just said somebody in a truck.
Which he dumped in a body of water. Rodarte called the incident an accident and unintentional. He said he will face the consequences of his actions. Number 6. Adele Sorella. This woman stood accused of taking the lives of her children in 2009. The bodies of her 2 daughters, 8-year-old Sabrina and 9-year-old Amanda, were discovered in the Sorella family home by Sorella's brother after he'd received a disturbing phone call from his sister. The girls were found dressed in their school uniforms, lying side by side in their playroom. Despite the fact that she pleaded not guilty, her interrogation video calls innocence into question.
I find it very strange to be in this situation. So I don't know what to think of it. I'm just trying to stay calm.
Sorella was interrogated for 4 hours by Deputy Sergeant Francois Guy Delisle on October 1st, 2009. In the video, Sorella sits with her arms crossed, and Delisle notes that he finds it strange that she doesn't appear upset. Sorella retorts that she finds it strange to be accused and is just trying to remain calm. During most of the interrogation, she holds to her silence, as advised by her lawyer, and remains stoic. She does claim to believe that her daughters are alive. When confronted with photos of the scene, Sorella cannot look at them. She turns them over on the table, but he won't let her run away. He keeps asking her to explain. Sorella continues to hold out, however. In fact, despite having viewed these photos throughout the entire interrogation, Sorella maintains that her daughters are still alive. Look into this woman's face and tell me what you think. Number 5. Lonnie Franklin. Have you heard of the Grim Sleeper? Well, you're about to. This man was taking lives between 1988 and 2002 and was nicknamed the Grim Sleeper because he took a 14-year hiatus from his spree. The Grim Sleeper's real name, Lonnie David Franklin Jr. The LAPD concluded that they were committed by one person, but then all went quiet for a while. That is until May of 2007, when 25-year-old Janeka Peters had her life taken. DNA linked her passing to 11 other unsolved cases in LA. A similar match was found in the family DNA of Lonnie's son Christopher, who was in the system. Police then used DNA found on a piece of pizza Lonnie threw out to link him to the incidents. Imagine sitting in the interrogation room with this man, completely emotionless. He denied taking the lives of each and every one. In May of 2016, Franklin was convicted of taking 10 lives in Los Angeles during this period. Number 4. Brian David Mitchell. Elizabeth Smart. She's a household name, and for the wrong reasons. The young girl was taken and held captive for 9 months at the age of 14. But do you know her captor's name?
So I'm afraid there's no substance to him.
Because I have
I'm gonna go see where Jason is.
All right.
I'll share thy word again according to you.
Brian David Mitchell was the evil behind the incident, and you can see that evil unfold in this interrogation. The bearded suspect's insanity is on full display, as he goes on about how he is some prophet, and he said the Lord delivered Elizabeth Smart to him, as well as other bizarre ramblings. In 2011, Mitchell was sentenced to life behind bars. Number 3. Chris Coleman. This man was convicted of taking the lives of his wife Sherry and 2 sons Gavin and Garrett. Like the recent family annihilation carried out by Chris Watts, Coleman too had a mistress. During his interrogation, Coleman is very defensive straight out the gate. Deny, deny, deny.
I'm telling you, I've already told you. I've told everybody. I told the guy in the ambulance. I told you. I told him.
The more we go back like this, the more it makes me think that there maybe even isn't a good explanation for it. I mean.
Although he continued to deny throughout the interview, becoming emotional at points, the evidence didn't lie. Coleman got life behind bars without the possibility of parole. Number 2, Clifford Burns, charged with taking the life of his wife Patricia on Christmas Eve. Estranged husband Clifford Burns was sentenced to 23 years to life. On December 22nd, Burns sent his daughter Autumn a cryptic text writing, "I have a special gift coming soon, something for everyone to talk about, and it will be hand-delivered on foot, not by car." It had been 8 months since he communicated with his daughters. Then on Christmas Eve, he broke into the apartment, wearing a mask and full camo. As his estranged family prepared Christmas Eve dinner, he pushed his ex into a wall, and his daughter Megan tried to help her mom. Cliff's mask slipped. He continued to take Patricia's life. Although Cliff fled the scene, he later turned himself into the local sheriff's department after leading them for a short time on a high-speed chase. Still wearing his camo, he finally removed his jacket, which was when Warren County Undersheriff spotted him and took him in to be interrogated. He called Cliff cooperative during the interview, a 5 roller coaster ride, oscillating between aggression and some mild sentiment. "I just wanted to see my babies at Christmas," he told him. He blamed the event on the pressures of the system, i.e. child support restraining order, and said that he loved Patricia but she took everything from him. He also said he blacked out the minute he arrived at the apartment. Burns' daughter, as well as Patricia's daughter from another marriage, gave impact statements at his trial, saying that they were forced to grow up early. "You didn't think about your own children," Harley Burns said to her father before his sentencing, while her sister Autumn said, "I lost my best friend." Before we get to number 1, my name is Chills and I hope you're enjoying my narration. If you're curious about what I look like in real life, then go to my Instagram at DylanIsChillinYT and tap that follow button to find out. It's a proven fact that generosity makes you a happier person, so if you're generous enough to hit that subscribe button and the bell beside it, then thank you. This way, you'll be notified of the new video we upload every Tuesday. Number 1. Morgan Geyser and Anissa Wire. 2 12-year-old girls attempted to take the life of their friend in the woods with a kitchen knife, and all to pay homage to Slenderman. The horrible nightmare happened in May of 2014, when Anissa Wire and Morgan Geyser led Peyton Lettner to her passing, or what they'd planned would be her passing. Lettner managed to crawl to the road where she was found and rushed to the hospital. She luckily recovered. The girls were interrogated separately. During her interrogation, Wire appears distressed. However, she seems a little out of touch with what they'd done. At one point, Wire asks the woman interrogating her whether she knows how far she'd walked, as she's usually not very athletic. Geyser, on the other hand, seems more in touch. At one point in the interrogation, she says, "People who trust you become very gullible." She also says later in the interview that she told Lettner, "I'm sorry this had to happen, but it was necessary." Both were sentenced to time in mental health institutions, but were found not guilty by reason of insanity. Thanks for checking out this video. Be sure to subscribe because we upload new countdowns every Tuesday and Saturday. Or if you're still not convinced, here are some of our other videos that I think you'd like. Enjoy!